Shalom, Pastor Talk coming back at you with this truth. Once again, giving all praise to Yahweh Shem Shah Shem Kakodash. And I'm going to entitle this video, I'm going to give it a couple of titles. The first title is Are the Men of GMS the True Men of the Lord? The second title is, or the second part of the title is, Bishop Nathaniel calls on the true name of the Lord, Yahweh. And there's a reason why the first part of the title is are the Men of GMS, the true men of the Lord. Because in this video that you see before you, IUIC, hashtag IUIC, Dr. Timothy Fair, we, Dr. Timothy Unfair, we not ready, it should be we are not ready to handle the Israelites. And this was put up, let me give it to you. All right, I'm at 55:17. This video was out some months ago about a gathering of coons, pastors, trying to, well, this guy, Dr. Timothy Fair, he says that Christians are not, they bring up the subject of the Hebrew Israelites and how so many so-called black men and a lot of women are leaving the church and they're, claiming that the Israelites. So this coon right here, because that's what he is, he's a coon. He pretty much says that we can't handle them, that Christians are to be more studied. Well, I'm gonna say this. He made that statement because Christians do not study. Now, if they did study, if they said, you know what, I'm gonna start studying these scriptures, do you know what would happen? Maybe you should say, don't study, because if you truly study, the Most High is gonna open your eyes up to saying that, to believing that we are in fact the Israelites. How do you think I came into this? I didn't just say, oh, I have nothing left to do. I see these Israelites down the street. Let me become an Israelite. No, I question everything. I question everything. The same thing goes with Bishop Nate, Apostle Gabar, and the rest of the apostles and the bishops. We question everything. And me, myself, I always question the top men, because I would go into the scriptures and I would question them on it. So I believed in it. I initially believed in it, but in order for me to build my faith and to become deeper into this truth, I had to study. I had to go. When I say study, people study in different ways in Israel, and in the whole Israelite community. You got some guys that'll take a word. They might take the word wicked, and then they'll put the precepts that they like together. Hit this scripture, hit that scripture, then they'll, go on the word evil. Now, what that does is it gives you precepts, but do you really understand those precepts? Then you have another form of study where you read Genesis 1, Genesis 2, Genesis 3, Exodus, Numbers, Leviticus, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, and you just read it. All you're doing is getting the history of the scriptures, which that doesn't give you the truth. The first thing you have to have is a teacher. That's in Romans. It's in a bunch of places, but in Romans 10, 13 on down. Actually, you can start at 12. The reason why I said 12, because there's a stumbling block there, which speaks about the Jews and the Greeks. So some Christians will say, if you go to Romans 10, verse 13, they'll say, well, wait a minute, go a verse above that. It says Greeks, so we are the Greeks. The Lord didn't say, I love Israel. Israel's my people, I have not set thee up because you're the greatest nation, but you were the smallest nation. Deuteronomy 7, I believe that's the 6th verse. But because I loved you. But now the Lord has a new love for another group of people, the Greeks. So let's deal with these scriptures word for word. The only people that the Lord loved, and we got to start teaching that. We got to put up extra words on the sign. The 12 tribes of Israel and the Greeks. And the Greeks. Not the Gentiles, the Greeks. So the Lord really loves two nations, the Israelites and the Greeks. What about the Italians? He don't like the Italians. Well, he one Italian he liked, which is Cornelius. He only liked one Italian. The Chinese, nope. When you go to, what is that? When you read Jeremiah 48, I believe you can start at chapter 47 or the 48, 49. It goes into these different nations, and he condemns the Moabites, the Ammonites. In Isaiah 11, he condemns the Philistines, but he never did condemn the Greeks. So the Greeks are the Lord's chosen people as well as the Israelites. Now, if you don't have a teacher to guide you, as the eunuch, Ethiopian eunuch, by the way, he was an Israelite that was living in Ethiopia. Remember, there was a great scattering, disperse of the Israelites. And that's another thing that these Christians don't understand. So when we quote certain scriptures or bring out certain scriptures, it goes completely over the heads of Christians. And this is why this guy, this coon right here, I'm gonna call him a coon. You know, Bishop Nate, call him respectively, the young, no, he's a coon. He's a coon that teaches white Christianity. He says, and I'm gonna let you listen to a little bit of this. Where am I? I'm so tempted. Well, we listen to this, but Bishop Nathaniel spice it up very well with the pictures, because the pictures speak 1,000 words, right? Let me know. You know what? Let me before I go into the second part of the title. Also, the third part of the title is other topics. All right. So are the men of GMS the true men of the Lord? Bishop Nathaniel calls on, what did I say? Calls on the true name of the Most High. All right. And I believe strongly that's from us constantly hitting them over the head, with these scriptures, constantly getting at him, and it got to him, and he got sick. And I believe after he got better, he praise the Lord, he got better. All praise to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, he got better, because guess what? He was humbled. Anytime I get sick, brother, I get humbled, man. Because you don't know if that sickness is going to lead to you going to the hospital, and that going to the hospital leads to death. Anyway, so the Most High healed him, and then when he started getting healed, he started showing his face again. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I believe he did say Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, but I'm not sure. Because, and I said the reason why he's calling on Yahweh, B'Shem Yahweh Shai, is because he was healed from that sickness. And I guarantee you, well, I can't prove it, he was secretly calling on Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, all right? But I have this video right here where he actually says it, and I immediately said, I got to do a video on this. While I was getting up to do the video, I said in my mind, how you ask questions in your mind. I said to myself, why would he call on the name? All of a sudden now he's calling on the name. Oh, and by the way, the beginning of the video is a funeral, and you have certain men and some of the women at the funeral. Now the Lord, now they speak about the Lord. You can't go before the dead. The only one that is to bury the dead is their family, the immediate family. So a guy that's a mortician, undertaker, that man, you don't want to be nowhere around that nigga, you know, because he's defiled all the time. When you go before a dead person, the law even speaks about the priest not going before anybody that's dead. This in the, what is that? I believe that's Ezekiel 44, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it says you can go before your mother and your father. But then when you go to the law, you can't even go before your mother and your father if you're a priest, because you cannot be defiled. Now, was our Lord defiled? Yes, he was defiled. But did he commit sin? No. He would have committed sin if he went to the temple while he was defiled. So let me see. I was thinking of something that's left me. Oh, yeah, let me go to that precept. Let me go to the precept. Bear with me for a minute. And I want to see if I can get into some of the commentary of Christian so-called scholars. They're either hit or miss. Anyway, let me bring this up. Ezekiel 44. Bear me for a minute. Okay, I wanted this right around here. So right around 20th verse. You know, because Alazar claims he's a priest, but he has long hair. Okay, I'm gonna start the 15th verse. I may jump around. Ezekiel 44 verse 15. But the priest and look, this is why these Christians, this is why this guy said what he said about the Christians are not studying. Well, the scriptures say, well, they're going against the scriptures. The scriptures say, study to show thyself approved. A workman needeth not to be ashamed, and they're taking L's all day, every day, rightly dividing the word of truth. And how can you rightly divide the word of truth? By studying, by having a teacher over you. And you can't get this on your own. The Most High has to set up teachers over you to teach you, and then you become a teacher and teach others. That's in Ephesians 4, around about the 11th verse, for the perfecting of the saints. It says here, Ezekiel 44, verse 15, but the priests, the Levites, the sons of Zadok, in the Hebrew is Tazadok, which means righteous, that kept the charge of my sanctuary. When the children of Israel went astray from me, they shall come near to me to minister unto me, and they shall stand before me to offer unto me the fat and the blood, saith the Lord power. Is Alazar doing that? Does he have a sanctuary where he's getting bullocks and so forth? No. It says, they shall enter into my sanctuary and tell, is there a sanctuary out there in the West? And they shall come near to my table to minister unto me, and they shall keep my charge. And it shall, and by the way, Ezekiel is a prophet of the Lord. So the words that Ezekiel speaks in this chapter is coming from the Lord. And it shall come to pass that when they enter into the gates of the inner court, and by the way, Revelation 11, start the first couple of verses, speaks about the outer court for the Gentiles. Because in the kingdom, the Gentiles will be able to come into the outer court. Remember, they're going to be taught the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. They're going to be taught about the Most High. If they call on the Most High, they're going to call on the true name of the Most High and His Son. So the nations are going to be in order. So captivity is a good thing because you're going to learn the truth. It says, and it shall come to pass that when they enter into the gate to the inner court, they shall be clothed with linen garments, and no wool, that's in the law, shall come upon them whilst they minister in the gates of the inner court and within. Now they can wear wool outside the court, but not inside the court. They shall have linen bonnets and upon their heads, and shall have linen breeches, trousers, pants upon their loins. They shall not gird themselves with anything that causes sweat. And when they go forth into the outer court, even into the outer court, to the people, they shall put off their garments wherein they ministered, and lay them in the holy chambers, and they shall put on other garments, and they shall not sanctify the people with their garments. So you wearing regular garments, you got to put on the priestly garments to go into the Holy of Holies, to the temple. And then when you come out, you got to take those garments off. You don't walk around with those garments. You understand? It says, neither shall they shave their heads, nor suffer their locks, their hair, to grow long. So when this is not about bashing priest Elazar. This is not to bash him. I didn't say I'm gonna get on that guy. I wasn't even thinking about him. But he has long hair, and he's justifying it by the law of the Nazarene, which he has a break on the Passover. But this is years ago. He says, "Well, I drink honey wine." So he's playing. He likes his long hair. You know, he likes his long hair. Which if he's a priest, he's going off. It says, and he's not keeping no vow of the Nazarene. Trust me. Neither shall they shave their heads, nor suffer their locks to grow long. They shall only poll their heads. Let's look up the word poll. You might say, well, this is not the law. You read that in the book of Ezekiel. Ezekiel's a prophet. Well, guess what? It's not the Most High speaking to the prophet Ezekiel. Look, the MOTB, that's part of the law, because the Lord added that to the commandments. So if you take the MOTB, guess what? You're breaking the law. The divine law, which goes beyond the 613 laws. Poll means to cut, clip, trim, share, right? Or 21, neither shall any priest drink wine when they enter into the inner court. Neither shall they take for their wives a widow, nor her that is put away, divorced, but they shall take maidens of the seed of the house of Israel. So a Levitical priest cannot deal with another nation. That's part of their job. Or a widow that had a priest before. So they can only get with virgins. So the priest got women when the women were young, wasn't touched. It says, then they shall teach my people the difference between the holy and the profane. And that's what we're teaching, and cause them to discern between the unclean and the clean. So when you see guys like Sarnetta in the Kemetic community, you're supposed to tell the people that the Most High is not dealing with those people. And ultimately, the Most High is going to destroy every last one of them. You shouldn't even keep company with them people, man. Because you know what they bring? They bring nothing but confusion. That's all Sarnetta does. Whether he wants to or not, whether he's sincere, he really wants to look for the truth, the Most High hasn't fully opened up his eyes. The Most High opens his eyes, and then the Most High closes his eyes back again. That's why he said the number one camp out there is GMS, and the rape thing is true. Guess what? The Most High opened his spiritual eyes for a hot minute and then closed them back. Then next week he'll go back to cursing us out. So you can't be around that man's got spirits on him. He's got forces on him. Okay, so let's go 23 again. And they shall teach my people the difference between the holy and the profane. The holy and the profane, the right thing, the right way to go, and this is the wrong way to go. And cause them to discern between the unclean and the clean. So our people as a whole, we have a long way to go. That's why the Most High is going to destroy the majority of them. Hey, this guy, General Yohanes said, go ahead and take the jump shot, the juicy juice, whatever you want to call it. That's the first thing he said, man. He said, go ahead and take it. And then he said, there was an interview with Sarnetta, and Sarnetta kind of cursed him out. But now Sarnetta said he gonna take it because his family took it, so he gonna have to go ahead and take it. So he reversed himself. Showed you that these people been confusing, man. Now General Yohana made the statement. I got the video, so you can't say where's the video. I got the video. I downloaded the video on 2 computers, so I have it. So as soon as you jump up and said I never said it, guess what? I'm gonna bring the video up, and the video's still on Sarnetta's page. He said that Esau, he called him white man, he called Israel black men. You know, his men don't have fringes on. What is that? Micah, give me a second. Let me bring up another precept. And if I have time, I wanted to go into Psalm 64 and Psalms 10, 2 short Psalms. Okay, where did I say I was going to go? I believe it's Micah 2 or 3. Let's try Micah 3. Okay, Micah 3. I'll start at 1. Micah 3 and 1. And I said here, I pray you, O heads of Jacob. Now, General Yohana claims he's a head of Jacob, right? And ye princes of the house of Israel, is it not for you to know judgment, who hate the good and love the evil, who pluck off their skin? Now, what is that in reference to? Who pluck off their skin? Ezekiel 37. Most High gonna bring the bones together and put skin on you, meaning he's gonna wake you back up. That's covering over your bones. The bones represent the tribes, and that covering represents your nationality, who you are, and the breath represents the knowledge, the sinews and so forth. It says, who hate the good and love the evil, who pluck off their skin from off them and their flesh from off their bones. So immediately, what precept should come to mind? Ezekiel chapter 37. In other words, you were set up by the elite to, reverse them, bring them out of it. Don't tell them that, don't wear fringes. Because when you watch, prove me wrong, if not all of them, 99% of them When they go out there and they speak, they don't have fringes on. They have T-shirts with black this, and I'm a black man, and all this nonsense. So this man was set up, okay? It says, who also eat the flesh of my people and flay their skin from off them, and they break their bones. When the bones are being brought together, Ezekiel 37, there were certain men that were set up to break the bones, to pull the skin off of them and scatter the bones, put them back to sleep. And that's what he's doing. So he made a statement in that video, watch the video on Sarnetta, concerning General Yohan and the vaccination or whatever. He said that Esau is putting a fast one on you, that he's telling you to take it because he knows Jake is not going to take it because Esau really don't want you to take it, but he's going to tell you to take it so you don't take it so he can take it. And he said, all of you that don't take it is going to die. All of you that don't take it, you're going to die. Well, guess what? This is going on 3 years and I'm still here. All the brothers I know around me are still here. So what's this death thing? Now, I do know for a fact that certain people I know that took it have died. One of my friends I grew up with since 10 years old, I run into him once every 3 to 5 years. And the last time I saw him was a week and a half before he passed. The first thing he said, I shouldn't have took them jabs. He said, because I feel like I'm going to die. And guess what? A week and a half later, he dropped dead. He went to the hospital feeling sick. They, needled him up and all that. He went to sleep. He never woke back up. When he was a young man, he was 62. It said, who also eat the flesh of my people and flay their skin from off them, and they break their bones and chop them in pieces as for the pot and as flesh within the cauldron. Then shall they cry unto the Lord, but he will not hear them. This is you guys that went back into the world. When all hell breaks loose, when you start seeing them MOTB stations set up, you're going to try to get back with the Lord, and the Lord is going to be a closed door for you. He will even hide his face from them at that time. So there's a lot of Israelites that have not taken hold to the plow, or they took a hold but looked back. There's no way you can get back in this, man, no matter how hard you try. Read about Saul. When the spirit was taken from him, he felt the spirit. And when the spirit was taken from him, there was a righteous spirit taken from him. It was a wicked spirit that was put upon him. And David played the instrument, and then the demon went off him, but temporarily. And he had so many demons on him, so many spirits on him, that his sole objective was to kill David. But ultimately, he wound up dying. Then he consulted a witch, which he banned the witches from Israel. That's why he came to. So his whole thing ended badly, as they have behaved themselves ill in their doings. It said, thus saith the Lord concerning the prophets that make my people heir, that make my people heir. I got to bring up that word heir. When we're teaching that the name of the Most High is Yahweh and the Son's name is Yahweh Shai, you better take heed to it. You guys that are following Bishop Nathaniel, and he got you saying Christ. Who's the king? Christ. Christ, the king. What the fuck you talking about, man? The king. The hell you talking about? That's Esau, man. But that sickness humbled his ass down. Let me look up the word heir. The word is thai. To err, one to go astray, stagger, wander about, of intoxication. They're drunken, but not with wine. Sin, wandering of the mind. And this is what Sarnetta does, and the Most High is going to destroy him for that, because he's got all these different guests. He's not coming out and telling you the whole truth. If he was about the truth, he wouldn't have anything to do with any of those guest that he has on. He said to be made to wonder about, be made to stagger. And that's what the majority of our people are doing. They're wondering about and they're staggering. That's also in Deuteronomy 28. They shall grope at noonday as a blind gropeth in darkness. And what does that mean to grope? You're touching because you can't see. So what is that talking about spiritually? You're looking for the truth, but you can't see it. Then you come across brothers speaking on the street or Israelite video, and you might stumble into, you might follow GOCC and say that Edomites can be saved. To be led astray, to cause to wonder about physically, to cause to err, mislead mentally and morally. In this society, they pass laws where it's all right to be a mo. Oh, this is a good one. Oh, these are good. This is a topic right here. One, err, meaning wondered. It says Psalm 107, they wandered or erred in the wilderness in a solitary way. They found no city to dwell in. He 107 verse 40, he poureth contempt upon princes and causes them to wander or err in the wilderness where there is no way. Psalms 119 verse 110, the wicked have laid a snare for me, yet I erred not from thy precepts. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Let me read that again. Psalms 119 verse 110, the wicked, which we know who the wicked are, have, if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are hid to them that are lost, of whom, yeah. If our gospel be hid, it's hid to them that are, now I feel like an ass. Let me bring that up so I can read it right. I got to come back to this. 2 Corinthians 4. But if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost, in whom the God of this world, we know who the God of this world is, hath blinded the minds of them which believe not, lest the light of the glorious gospel of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, who is the image of the Most High, the Father, should shine unto them. So you can't get it because you're looking at Sarnetta videos getting confused. Psalms 119 and 110, the wicked have laid a snare for me, yet I erred not from thy precepts. Let's look up the word precepts. And that's why this the preacher, the doctor, whatever, of divinity, dumb dogs, in the video that Nate put up, he said they're not studied. Yeah, because that's what you're supposed to do. You don't just learn one scripture, John 3:16, and said Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. And look up the word precepts. The word is pakwa wadiyam. Precept, statute. Statute meaning law. And precept always goes back to the word commandment, because the scriptures are commandment. I will meditate in thy precepts and have respect unto thy ways. Come back. Psalms 119, verse 176. I have gone astray, and we all have, like a lost sheep. Matthew 10, 5 and 6. Seek thy servant, for I do not forget thy commandments. So anyway, let's come back. Have you for a minute? That's not it. Okay, we're back in Ezekiel 44. Churchmen, statutes, 44, verse 24. And in controversy, they shall stand in judgment, and they shall judge it according to my judgments, and they shall keep my laws and my statutes in all mine assemblies, and they shall hallow my Sabbath. Oh, that's another good one for you guys that say you can have sex on the Sabbath. It says you shall hallow my Sabbath, meaning make that day a holy day. So being defiled on the Sabbath is you're not supposed, that's against the law. That's why the Most High going to break all these groups up. 25th verse. And they shall come at no dead person. Now this is talking about the priest, mind you, but any person that come before a dead body is defiled for 7 days. So you can't be a mortician. Who buried the dead? They didn't have a viewing of David's body and Saul's body. Now David had the viewing, and we all came together in the big temple, and we took our last look at David, and when Saul died. No, the immediate family buried them. And you didn't have no priest, over the dead body either. You should read the laws on that. And they shall come at no dead person to defile themselves, but for their father or for mother or for son. Now in the actual law, it said don't even go around your father and your mother and your son and your daughter and your wife, or for son or for daughter, for the brother or for sister that have had no husband, they may defile themselves. And after he is cleansed, they shall reckon unto him 7 days. The Lord says you're defiled for 7 days. There's other sins where you're defiled until the evening. Now, I'm not going to read no more of that. Let me go into this video. Let me go back a little bit. And see, these guys right here don't realize that they're enemies to the Lord. And how about Shem Yahushua is going to destroy every last one of these guys. They're working for Esau, whether they know it or not. Let me let you listen to a little bit of this.
Neil, we have Superintendent Anthony Hudson, we have Superintendent Jerome Armour, as well as those that morally push, and don't reveal your own fight. And so I don't know what that means, but let me take you off. You don't hear twice. I guess double blessing. Nevertheless, let's go at this time, Bishop.
If you notice, part of Christianity, if you have a high level of Christianity, you notice that they're all wearing a suit and tie because they're part of so-called white supremacy. In Christianity, American white Christianity is nothing but white supremacy. That's all it is. So true Christianity is a hate group. What proves that is when Columbus came over here, he brought with him Christianity. And what did he do in the name of Christianity? He killed people. If you didn't accept and bow down to the Messiah, they killed you. And then they enslaved the people. They were raping the women. They stole from them. They did everything outside of true Christianity, man.
Bishop Bell, get us started today as we have this live discussion. Listen, everybody, make sure you follow, like, share, and subscribe. Bishop Bell.
Thank you so much, Bishop Hankerson. We honor you tonight for this opportunity. We honor you tonight for this opportunity.
These are nothing but a gathering of black demons. These guys are straight up demons.
To come and to share with so many of these great young men whom I've seen around the church, great minds, and certainly are prepared academically and spiritually, I believe, to speak to what we're going to be talking about tonight. I would like to just say welcome, and I'd like to just get right into our discussion. I want to kind of talk about tonight. I'd like to kind of get this started by asking a simple question, and that is, why do young men appear to be drawn to other religious movements like the Hebrew Israelites, and so on and so forth? What can be done, in your estimation or in your opinions, that can draw young men, African American men particularly, to Christ?
And thank you again, Bishop Hankerson and Bishop Bell.
Now, when he said to Christ, he's talking about the Caesar Borgia image that you see all over the place in the churches. And now what's ironic is Bishop Nathaniel, Bishop Nate is talking against these guys. And guess what? He got his people calling on Christ. Watch the beginning of this video. Hashtag AISUIC, Dr. Timothy Fair, we not ready, or we're supposed to be, we're not ready to handle the Israelites. Just watch it. Watch the beginning. They're in front of they're surrounding a coffin, and they're saying, "Who's the king? Christ. Who's the king? Christ." Well, guess what? What should come to your mind? Caesar Borgia.
I would argue that there is very right now. What I mean by teaching, teaching doctrine. The Hebrew Israelites, although they are wrong, unfortunately, many of us do not count.
Notice it says, although they are wrong. Wrong about what? Wrong about what? And they're not going to repent. These demons are not going to repent.
Unfortunately, many of us cannot counter what they're teaching. Unfortunately,
it says we cannot counter what they're teaching. Now I have a precept. Let me see if I can spell this right. I'm not the best speller in the world. Game. This is what it says, showing you that the Lord is not dealing with these men. Luke 21, verse 15. For I will give you a mouth and wisdom which all your adversaries shall not be able to gainsay nor resist. So let me listen to this guy again.
Listen, everybody, make sure you follow, like, share, and subscribe. Bishop Nate.
Thank you so much, Bishop Hankerson. We honor you tonight for this opportunity. We honor you tonight for this opportunity to come and to share with minds and certainly prepared academic night. I would like to just say welcome, and I'd like to kind of get this started by asking a simple question, and that is, why do young men appear to be drawn to other religious movements like the Hebrew Israelites, and so on and so forth? What can be done in your estimation or in your opinions that can draw young men, African American men?
A lot of my brothers are speaking. I would argue that there still deserves a teaching that's happening right now in most of our churches. What I mean by teaching, I mean teaching doctrine. The Hebrew Israelites, although they are wrong, unfortunately, many of us cannot counter what they're teaching. Unfortunately,
The statement that he just made proves that he doesn't have the gospel. Because what did I just read in the book of Luke? They cannot resist or gainsay. Read again. Luke 21, verse 15. For I will give you a mouth and wisdom which all your adversaries shall not be able to gainsay nor resist. I'll look up the word gainsay.
Strong's G 471 on Typon.
To speak against. So he admitted that we can't deal with the Israelites. So what does that prove? That he doesn't have the gospel. Let's listen to a little bit more.
counter what they're teaching. Unfortunately, many of us cannot counter what they're teaching. Number one, because we don't understand it, we haven't studied it in a way, how Paul was able to really counter false doctrine because he understood it. So number one, understanding of false doctrine. I think that systematic teaching, when you think about it, is right. Teaching of proper doctrine leads to peace.
What he means is white supremacy. See, these black Christians, they want to get us.
Give me a sec. Well, here we go.
Catholic Church or Protestant, which is the same BS. Look at this. What you're looking at here is the Protestant church. How we jumped around, speak, hollering, shouting, like it is. That's it's on the same thing. Every Sunday after Sunday. Every Sunday. Now, how is this?
I know my particular responsibility. I know the collective responsibility in the global body of Christ. And so doctrine we need to do. And when we understand that what is articulate in our doctrine. And when we teach orthodoxy, or what I believe is the right belief.
He says the right belief means white supremacy. Black man in servitude to white Jesus, white God, white religion.
To lead to orthopraxy for the right practice. And in this moment, and I'll end with this, I really believe that we are living in what propaganda says. This isn't a famine for food, it's not a famine for water. But the propaganda says it's a famine for the word of God. And in this moment, there's a famine across the land because people cannot articulate, cannot understand, and cannot defend the word of God. And so what I would offer, again, as a young minister.
But you can't defend it. Let me jump to right about let's see what he said. I'll be right about here, 55 minutes in. And now listen up.
It's what was happening during the prophecy, during the time, which has now become history. Now, what was Amos making reference to? Now, to make it easy, I'm gonna go to 2 Chronicles 15:3. But this is also referenced in Hosea chapter 3, verse 4 and 5. I'm not reading Hosea right now. I'm reading Chronicles. 2 Chronicles chapter 15, verse 3 and 4. Now for a long season, Israel have been without the true God. Who's the true God? Yahweh, that's his name, Yahweh in the Hebrew. And a God, who's the true God? Yahweh, that's his name, Yahweh in the Hebrew. A true God, who's the true God? Yahweh, that's his name, Yahweh in the Hebrew. The true 3 and 4. Now for a long season, Israel have been without the true God. Who's the true God? Yahweh, that's his name, Yahweh in the Hebrew. The true God. Who's the true God? Yahweh, that's his name, Yahweh in the Hebrew. In English, who's the true God? Yahweh, that's his name, Yahweh in the Hebrew.
So there you have it. That's the proof that he called on Yahweh. Now, all these years we've been bucking up against him, and this guy, Deacon Asaph, he got all emotional about it. Why you keep getting? Why don't you keep the bishop's name out of your mouth? Well, guess what? It wasn't us. It was the Most High that put the spirit on us to keep saying it. And why did he say? Like, let's say we never said, kept saying, well, Nate, you got to call on the true name of the Most High, and he would buck up against it, and then he would go back to saying Christ, right? Now you notice he was sick for some time, definitely ill, and he's the Most High healed him. And like I said, I don't know what video it was. It was a while back. It was some months ago, where they showed his face. He showed his face again, and I believe he did say, I don't know if he said Yahweh and Yahweh Shai or just Yahweh Shai, but he said one of those names. But what has he been teaching his congregation? That he's been teaching them that the Lord's name is Christ. The Christ this, Christ that. Matter of fact, let me show you that. Let me show you. Let me bring it back. I'm almost finished with this. See what precepts come to mind. Okay. And like I said, you shouldn't be at a funeral, period. Now it says in Ezekiel, you can go for your mother, for your father, for your did it say son? You gotta go back to Ezekiel 44. But and the way they're burying them is a Christian way. Well, that's the only power that we have, when the kingdom comes. First of all, no Israelite's going to die anyway, but these other nations, they're going to have to bury their dead in a certain manner. And there's not going to be any priest there. Okay, read Ezekiel 44 again. So just watch this. And then there was one video years ago where they had a funeral in a person's house, and Nate was sitting right next to the coffin with somebody else reading out of the Apocrypha, which is clearly, like I said, when you buried it, when Saul got buried, it was his family that buried him. When David died, it was his family, the family of David that buried him. You didn't have no big, okay, what you call it, die? Let's all get together. We're gonna meet on this day and we're gonna view the body. That's a heathen practice, man. And when you shout, keep the law, and you're not keeping the law, it tells you that in Romans, man. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and get it. Bear with me for a minute. Okay, it's not written in here too many times. Okay, it says Romans 2, verse 21. I might jump up to 20, but let's see. It says, thou therefore, which teacheth another, teacheth thou not thyself? Thou that preacheth a man should not steal, doeth thou steal? Let me jump up a verse above that. This is a Romans chapter 2 is a very good precept chapter. Romans 2 verse 19, and art confident that thou thyself art a guide, a teacher of the blind, a light of them which are in darkness, an instructor of the foolish, a teacher of babes, which hath. Now, babes is important. If you hit a certain age and you come into this thing, let's say you're in your mid to late 40s, into your 50s or whatever, and especially into your 60s and above that, when you come into this, it's hard for you to come into this truth because you're old. The scriptures speak about, there's a reason why the Lord spoke about the parable of the old wine bottle, and when you put new wine in there, it leaks out. And we've seen that. We actually seen guys that was a certain age, an older age, coming to this thing and bucked up against us and wind up falling off. The script, the Most High calls you in as a young man. What is that? Exodus 12. It said an instructor of the foolish, because before you knew that you were Israelite, you were going to church or you were going to the mosque or you were following some Kemetic bullshit. And you can't get it unless you become born again. It said a teacher of babes, which hath the form of knowledge and of the truth in the law. So the law is still in effect, vocab. Thou therefore, which teachest another, teachest thou not thyself? Thou that preachest a man should not steal, doeth thou steal? Thou that saith a man should not commit adultery, doeth thou commit adultery? And the sin of adultery is a heinous crime because the penalty is death. Look, if you break the Sabbath in any way, you know what the penalty is? Death. And you guys are not even keeping the proper Sabbath. The proper Sabbath is based upon a new moon. All high holy days are based upon a new moon. But for some reason, the Sabbath is based, wherever you go to 7-Eleven or gas station, service station, and get the calendar. And wherever it said Friday, when that Friday night comes, that's when that's BS. That's these small hats, the Saturnalian. And I was out there among them, picking them up yesterday, man. And they wear black, everything black, which goes back to the god of the Saturnalian god, which Saturn is named after the god of the Saturn. It says thou. That's why judges wear black, Saturnalians. Thou that saith a man should not commit adultery. Does thou commit adultery? Thou that abhorreth idols, dost thou commit sacrilege? 23. Thou that maketh thy boast of the law, through breaking the law, dishonoreth thou the Most High. For the name of the Most High is blasphemed among the Gentiles through you, as it is written. For circumcision verily profiteth, if thou keepeth the law, but if thou be a breaker of the law, thy circumcision is made uncircumcision. It's like you never got circumcised. That's why you need a savior. So where we at? Okay, so you heard it. You heard it out of the mouth, the horse's mouth, that he said, yeah, all of a sudden now he's saying Yahweh. Oh, this is what I want you to listen or watch. Listen up.
Today I'm going to show you here. Today I'm going to show you.
Precious in the sight of the Lord is the death. I believe, therefore, have I spoken. I was greatly afflicted as all of you are. As it is written, I would not have you to be ignorant concerning them which are asleep in death, that you sorrow not.
See, they're going off on that. It's only the family that's supposed to bury the dead. Bear me for a minute. I'm trying to find a minute marker. Keep bear with me. Oh, I hate this. But they all shout out, who's the King? Christ. Who's the King? Christ. Which is clearly off. I remember Uriah, Captain Uriah, out there in Dallas. He had them guys turn their head to the right, say, Christ, who's the King? Christ. Turn their head to the left. And guess what happened to Captain Uriah? He totally fell out the truth. Damn, where the hell is it? Okay, this is it right here. Listen up, listen up, listen up. Listen up, listen up, listen up. The scriptures say if the blind lead the blind, they shall what? Both fall into the ditch. And you see an Edomite right there. An Edomite right there. Or could be a Jake with and he got the mask on, nobody got the mask on. This is madness. So listen up, listen up. They're bigging up Christ, which is Caesar Borgia. They're bigging up this guy. Let me go. Jesus. Look, white man. Who's the King? Christ. This is who they're thinking about. This guy right here. This red hairy bastard right here. Now I'm gonna put in the true name. I'm gonna put in oh, you know what? I'm putting Yahweh. Yahweh. See them images? We're not saying this is the Lord. Nobody went up into the heaven and took a snapshot of the Lord, but according to the writings, he would look somewhat like this. No, he didn't look like this. Whoever put this, I hope this is not somebody from GMS, but whoever put this picture together, you know, he got the wings. You know, Jake is funny as hell. He got the kneecap showing. Come on, man. Got the muscle, got the guns. This is madness. You know, let me get to the bottom of this. You got the Ronnie Coleman hookup. Yeah, Jake is funny, man. I hope that's not somebody from GMS. Can't believe that. Anyway, let me go to Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Shai. Now I put in Christ and nothing but Edomites came up, right? So I put in Yahweh Shai. And this is what Google's trying to tell you something. Bishop Jessup. This guy used to be a part of GMS. I believe he's Ghanaian or Nigerian, but he broke off, had his guy follow him. I don't know what he's doing now. Anyway, so you heard it, as they say, you heard it out of the horse's mouth, the true name of the Most High. So when is he going to teach it to his people? Because this, like I quoted before, the blind lead the blind, they shall both what? Fall into a ditch. Now going back to us, GMS, the reason why I said the men of GMS, the true men of the Lord, because we kept cursing him out. The reason why all of a sudden now he's calling on the true name, and he said that. He said the true name. Let me go back to 55. Because a nigga will say, oh, he never said that. Oh, he never said that. Tahar, you putting words in his mouth, Tahar. Okay, right here. Listen again, please.
In English, people say Jehovah, okay? And without a teaching priest, there was no one to stand up, okay? And Yahweh in the Hebrew. Out the true God. Who's the true God? For a long, 2 Chronicles, chapter 15, verse, the true God. Who's the true God? Yahweh, that's his name, Yahweh in the Hebrew. The true God. Who's the true God? Yahweh, that's his name, Yahweh in the Hebrew. In English, who's the true God? Yahweh, that's his name, Yahweh in the Hebrew.
He didn't say, I think that's his name. It might be his name. We still doing research. He said, the true name of the Most High is Yahweh. That's his name, Yahweh. So just in case any of you demons jump up and say, I'm putting words in Bishop Nathaniel's mouth, all right? And I said this before, and I'll continue to say it. I believe, my personal belief, that he's one of the elect. Read the story about Joseph in Egypt. His brothers wanted to kill him. Then two of the brothers, Reuben and Judah, said, no, let's sell him to the Midianites, the Ishmaelites. And it was all set up. And when Joseph saw them years later, when he was up, he was the second in command under the king of so-called Egypt, Mizraim. Most Christians don't know that. he embraced them. He disguised himself, cursed them out, and then he embraced them as brothers, even though they wanted to kill him. So, my belief is, because I'll say this, we do get on IUIC and all that, but most of the time they hitting, man. They go off a couple of times. One of the things that go off is the true name of the Lord. And I believe that us constantly badgering him, like the lady in Luke, the judge. Let me see if I can find that. Bear with me for a minute, please. Let me do this. Bear with me for a minute. Like I said, I'm not the best. Let's see what happens. Okay, that's Judges. Let me do this. I want the word judge, and it's in Luke. Okay, this is it. Luke 18, verse 2. It says, started 1, and he spake a parable unto them to this end, that men ought always to pray and not to faint, saying, there was in a city a judge which feared not the Most High, neither regarded man, a corrupt judge. And there was a widow in the city, and she came unto him, saying, avenge me of my adversaries. And he would not for a while, but afterward he said within himself, though I fear not the Most High, nor regard man, yet because this woman troubleth me. See, this is what we did to Nate. We troubled him. So, Deacon ASAP, whatever your name is, you got emotional, man. You got all emotional. Keep the bishop's name out your mouth. There was a reason. Look, you don't understand. The same thing happened with King David. The Benjamite, I forget his name, you can put it in the description. He cursed David out, and it was one of them, I believe it was Benaniah, one of them. You got to go, I'm not going to go to the account, that he said, let me go and take his head. So David pretty much said, I'm paraphrasing, no, leave him alone, because the Spirit is speaking through him. So didn't you realize maybe the Spirit's speaking through us? Does not the scripture say that in Matthew? It's not you that speak, but the Spirit of the Father that speaks through us. It said, yet because the widow troubleth me, I will avenge her, lest by her continue coming she weary me. And then on top of that, us constantly saying, you got to teach the name, you got to teach the name. You can't be teaching about no goddamn Christ. You got to teach the true name is Yahweh. And he would buck up, he would say, well, you can't make a doctrine out of a name, out of the Hebrew. Well, that is part of the doctrine. Look, you told them people to change their name from coon names to Hebrew names, which are really not even Hebrew. That's biblical hillbilly. What the names that you give your people are hillbilly Hebrew names, not the real Hebrew, not the Lashawan Kodash. You give them hillbilly Hebrew, Ebonics. And then you even mark the Most High's name and saying, Ebonics. But guess what? You're starting to speak Ebonics. That sickness made you start speaking Ebonics, which really is a real Hebrew. So you all over the place, man. You playing two sides of the fence. You're double-tongued. You're speaking out of two sides of your mouth, and you're being a hypocrite. You tell them that's a cool name. Now, when you read Romans the 16th chapter, read that whole chapter. Paul addressed those Israelites that all had a Greco-Roman names. He didn't say, look, you got to change your name to a Hebrew name. They said, yet because this widow troubles me, I will avenge her, lest by their continued coming she weary me. And the Lord said, hear what the unjust judge saith. All right. And shall not the Most High avenge his own elect? We believe we're the elect, which cry day and night unto him, though he bear long with them. I tell you that he will avenge them speedily. Nevertheless, when the Son of Man cometh, shall he find faith on the earth? Yes, he's going to find faith on the earth through us, through the brothers that woke up to the fact that they're Israelites. And this goes beyond GMS. These are going to all the sincere brothers of Israel that came out of One West. The truth came out of One West. That's why vocab, his target is who? The men of One West, formerly of One West, because we have the truth. Okay, I was going to go someplace else. Oh, back, we got kicked out of school, as in Matthews 10, kicked out of the synagogue. We got kicked out of the temple more than 20 years ago because of Cornelius thing. Years later, Nate, when there was a bunch of breakups, Bishop Nate, Bishop Nathaniel did a video when he was on YouTube concerning Cornelius. He said Cornelius is an Israelite, right? Well, guess what? Years before that, more than 20 years before that, we defended the Cornelius being an Israelite. Now he teaches it. We've been getting on him, us here at GMS, no other camp. We've been getting on him about the name, the true name. And you heard it. I don't got to play it again. I played it a bunch of times. It was like 55 minutes into that particular video. He said, the name of the Most High, the true name of the Most High is Yahweh. That's his true name. That's what he said. End quote, quote, end quote. So now the next thing is this, the MOTB. He already knows that the MOT, and like I said, we've been putting up videos, putting his name in there, you know, putting the name of the bishop in our mouth. We've been pushing that, and guess what? I believe he sees it. And I know for a fact that at least one guy, a high-ranking guy that goes under various, what do you call that, avatars, all right? He must be, sometimes he's Murphy, sometimes he's Paul Kersey, sometimes he's Bishop Melchizedek. You know, he's all these different guys, which is the tallest guy in IUIC, none other than, I don't know if he's a deacon, I should call him Deacon Frost, Deacon Athun, which that's hillbilly Hebrew, by the way. Athun is hillbilly Hebrew. He knows, and he told me this a couple of years ago, that he said, you know what, Tar, you're right. The MOTB is what you guys say it is. So I asked him, and I said this before on videos in the past. I said, so when are you going to teach? When you're going to call a council and teach them guys, Nathaniel and the rest of them? He said, this is what he said. He replied back. He said, IUIC and ISUPK are not ready. Well, how long before they get ready? When they start setting up them stations to get MOTB'd? So, but like I believe Nate, Bishop Nathaniel, he knows that it's true. All the receipts that are coming out, he knows that it's coming true, but he's not going to admit it. That's my belief. Anyway, with that, I went a little long. With that, I'm going to say Shalom. We're in the Sabbath anyway, so what else am I going to do? Shalom.